start our first lesson. Today, because it's the first lesson, it won't be so difficult. And you will not have a homework to do, but still will have new things for you to study today. Okay, so we are starting. So cracking the code of the universe, level 1. So our lesson is divided into two. As always will be our lesson. The part 1, we will be speaking about the uniqueness of the Hebrew. And part 2 will be Hebrew practice. We will study the letters, words, parts of speech along all this course. And of course, part 3 will be your questions at the end. So you will be able, all the questions that arouse throughout the lesson will be answered at the end. Okay, so we start from part 1, from about the uniqueness of the Hebrew. About the origin of the Hebrew letters and the Hebrew alphabet and Gematria, this will be our topics for today. So the first topic, the origin of the letters. We would like to start by listening to a video clip by Dr. Lightman about the origin of the letters.
If we go to the origin, the source of the languages, then sure, Hebrew came first. It came from the Shomerim, the Sumas, and from ancient Babylon, from back then, and gradually it developed. Shomerim, the Sumas, it's not that important to us. What is important to us is the need for the development of the language, and especially the development of the Hebrew language. So actually, there's no need for Hebrew. Really, truly so. Because Hebrew was entirely intended to only put in writing man's spiritual states, his forms of connection, ways of connection with the Creator, through the forms of his connection with those that are just like him, that connect with each other and to the Creator, and only. It is a code that is intended only in order to put in writing the impressions, the research regarding the connection between man and the Creator. And therefore this language, what was done with it for thousands of years, I'm not even mentioning that, but it is unclear to the ordinary person. He doesn't understand the elements of the letters, the essence of the letters, the way they interconnect. He doesn't understand the foundation, the roots of the letters. These laws, these rules, they're completely spiritual. And therefore, man simply isn't there. What we get is the Hebrew alphabet, and this is what we start using. I saw how my grandchildren learned it. That's how it is. Whereas the Kabbalists that have invented the language, they have discovered it, revealed it out of the spiritual forces. From their connection, they understood the positive and negative forces, giving and receiving. In what ways should they be limited? In what areas, fields, desires? And from that they found that In the connection between them and the Creator, there are all in all these 22 plus 5 forms of connection that are called letters. A letter is a sign, and it represents the form of connection both between people and the Creator, or only between people and the Creator. What exactly? Between people, and from that, with the Creator. It's like a triangle between people and then the Creator. Yeah. And they found these forms of connection. They discovered it from their spiritual work. And as a result, they got this language, which is actually, at its basis, very simple. That there's a point, which is the initial desire. And outside of that point, there's a line, either from above down, which is the light of Chokhmah, or from right to left and from left to right, which is Chasadim, or a circle, which is the correct connection, with the center in it, and then the triangle and the square. These are really the forms of connection between people and between people and the Creator. And therefore you can't say, and where do you have here other forms like, I don't know, the David star? You don't? And other forms? No, not ellipse shapes or anything else. They're very clearly defined forms in the way that people connect in their desires, and those desires in which they resemble the upper force and the upper force.
So we heard right now very important things from Dr. Rav Lightman. I will repeat some of them. First of all, about the need of the Hebrew language. So Hebrew language is a tool to describe the spiritual worlds and the connection between the desires and the light. The light is the creator, the desires are our spiritual desires. So Hebrew, all our symbols or signs called otiyot, as we see here, Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, all these otiyot, we will be reviewing them right immediately, but they are all forms of connection, meaning connection between light and desire, the quality of receiving and the quality of bestowal. So that together, when there is the form and connection, there is a form. And that, especially these forms that we see here of these letters, that's what we can see are those special forms that have a meaning for forms of connection. So all of them, if we see about letter Aleph, letter Bet. So in this lesson, we will be focusing letters Aleph and Bet. But all of these letters that we see from Aleph to Taf, yes, start from here to the end, all of these are 22 letters of connections, forms of connections. And when we accomplish all of these forms of connection, we correct all of our desires. The one global desire which was created is the Malchut. And inside this Malchut is divided to these forms of connection. So this is a connection of bestowal. So the letters does not symbolize egoistic desire. It is already, because egoistic desire has no shape. The shape of the letter, it has a shape only after it connects the light, the quality of bestowal, because it's a form of bestowal. A form of ego is not a form. Is a general form is just something which is not, I would say, defined. It has no qualities. Just one general, basic, fundamental quality, but has no direction. Just one direction of receiving, and it is like one form of receiving. That's it. And here we see how this global desire gets explicit forms of connection. And this is very interesting. So all this global desire, one desire, is divided to Aleph and Bet and Gimel until Taf. We will see that we will study these letters, very interesting, from the Zohar essay, the letters by Ibn Saba, from Taf to Aleph. We will see, because though Aleph was created first, but we will be studying from Taf to Aleph, the reverse order, because only after we apprehend the letter Taf, I'm sorry, the Imnona, the essay presents the letters from Taf to Aleph, because this is the order of correction. But we, in order not to confuse our study, we will study letter Aleph and Bet by this order, because we are just want to study also reading and practicing. That's why we'll study by the order of a regular study. So what we see here all the letters, the 22 letters. We will see now, in addition, that there are more letters called the ending letters. And here, all these letters as a series is called Emet, which is the Hebrew word for truth. So Emet is the first letter, Aleph, and then the last letter, Taf, and the middle letter is Mem. As we will see, letter Mem also symbolize also a Bina, okay? And letter Aleph is already the final correction, and it goes from Taf, again, if we go about the correction, Taf Mem Aleph, but Aleph Mem Taf, Emet. Emet, it means that includes all the letters, the words for truth. Truth also is one of the names of the Creator. Meaning, after to create, what does it mean, Creator? Creator means to apprehend the Creator. If you remember from our first lesson, we said Creator, the Creator in Hebrew is Boreh. And Boreh was Bo, Bet Aleph, and Reish Aleph. Bo and Re'eh. So, and that means comes and see. So the Creator means to apprehend all the letters, and then we come to the level of come and see, letter of Bo or E, come and see, and that means the Creator. So now let's see how these letters, which means correction, forms of connection, forms of correction, how they are divided according to the Sefirot. So as we said before, we start from Malchut, then we elevate to Zer Ampin, and then to Bina. This is the form of correction. But the form of creation goes from top to bottom. So let's see how it was created. The first 9 letters, Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Daled, Hey, Vav, Zain, Chet, Tet, these letters Of course, all the letters are forms of connection, spiritual forms, okay? So let us not forget, it doesn't so complicated, we don't need to confuse. When we name the letters, we also name spiritual entities. And also, when we'll be switching to our next part of the lesson, we will study them as regular letters for every language. But as we go lesson by lesson, it will come all together. From one side, we are studying a regular language to read, to speak, to know the text. But from the other side, we also get its spiritual meaning, spiritual correction, spiritual form. As we heard in the video clip, that this is the unique phenomenon of the Hebrew. Otherwise, if it was not be aimed for spiritual designation, then there is no use for this language. Otherwise, we can use any other language to connect. So this is the main purpose of the Hebrew, not just for connecting between people as any other language, but mainly for spiritual connection, spiritual designation. Okay, so Bina was includes the first 9 corrections, which are designated by the letters, Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Daled, Hey, Vav, Zayin, Chet, Tet. In the next slide, you will see this pronunciation of these letters. You don't have to remember this by heart now from my speech. Then we go to our second series of letters, second part of group of corrections, which starts from the letter Yod, Chaf, Lamed, Mem, Nun, Samech, Ain, Pei, Tzadik. And you see that we added here its numerical value. So Yud is not, and if Yud is 10, comes after 9, but Chaf, which is the letter which comes after Yud, should be expected to have 11. Well, not. 11, by the way, is Yud, Aleph. Yes, Yud is 10, Aleph is 1 from here, and this is 11. So you can see in Hebrew text, in our sources, if we get to paragraph number 11, so sometimes you will see Yud Aleph, paragraph Yud Aleph, paragraph Yud Bet. But sometimes we have converted these letters, these paragraph numbers, also to numbers to make it easy for you to find yourself in the text. But all the numbers really in the Hebrew were all numerical values, were all based only on letters. So if you wanted to designate a numerical value, a quantity, all were by letters, no numbers at all. So we continue in the letters of the Rampin. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, also 9 letters, and its numerical goes by tens. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. Okay? So if I write the combination of Kaf, Bet. What is Kaf, Bet? Kaf is 20, Bet is 2, and together we get 22. And you will see also, because we deal with letters, in Hebrew there are Kaf Bet, meaning 22, Otiyot, letters, Otiyot. Kaf Bet Otiyot, 22 letters, but this is what's important for us. Kaf Bet, 22, this numerical value of 22. So here we have 9, 9 is 18, and the last 4 letters of Malchut, 4 letters, together is 22, or Chaf Bet. Here it goes by hundreds, 100, 200, 300, 400. Okay, so these are when we will be reviewing the meaning of every letter using the Zohar, the essay of Rabbi Nona Saba, the essay of the letters. Of course, we will study all the attributes of each and every letter. Here you can see that when we switch from Bina to Zerampin, the value of each letter is multiplied by 10, 1, 10, 100. Here, when I go from Kuf to Reish, there is a difference of 100 and then another 100. The reason is that here the letters symbolize more coarseness, more desire, more ego. That's why the heaviness of the letter. So this numerical value just to symbolize how a big desire, heavy desire, this letter symbolize. And when this letter is corrected by the light, it shines more. It shines by 100, by 200, by 300, or by 400. Okay, and here at the bottom, we see here four letters, which is called Mantzepach. I read it from left to right. Mantzepach. Why it is called Mantzepach? So the order in Hebrew is from right to left. Here we have Mem, but you see this is Mem here also, but here it's a closed Mem. You see it's closed. It's not open like here. Here it's open, not closed. A square. We will see what does it mean, this square, these attributes. And it's also built from some letters. Here is closed. Why it is closed? And here we have a letter Nun, but longer. It's like letter Vav here, but it is longer. It goes below the line of the letters. This is this letter Nun. This is the letter Tzadik. Here is the letter Tzadi, a normal letter. This is a letter Tzadi which comes at the end. So if there is a word which ends with the sound of Tzadik, so we will see Tzadik at the end. Okay, so if we see the word Ratzon, okay, so here is Tzadik in the middle of the word. But if I want to say only Ratz means running. So the last letter will be like this letter. Okay, so the shape of the letter when it comes at the end of the word changes. Not in every letter, only those specific 5 letters has a special form at the end of the word when it appears. Of course, everything has a spiritual meaning. These letters also are of the letters of the screen when the Masach of Malchut is enclosed in the Partzuf. We will, of course, review it throughout our lessons. So these are these special letters of Mantzipach. So this is the way we spell them or pronounce them, Mantzipach, as a group of letters. Okay, so here we see a table. We already have pronounced these letters, but here you see a table which gives us a summary, the name of each letter, the pronunciation, and the numerical value. So from the left, we have letter Aleph. This is the name of the letter. How it is pronounced, we will see, depends on the punctuation, whether it will be A or E. Here we see the letter Bet. It will be sound whether B, Be, or V. We will see B when we'll be studying Be, and This is the letter vet without any dot inside. This is like the letter V. Letter Gimel, Ge, letter Dalet, D, De. Here on the last column is the numerical value. Dalet, D, De, Hey. Whether it is Hey will be one of the letters which we will find it also at the end of the words, when it will be as a like a silent letter, a letter that we do not pronounce. We will see this. Letter Vav, this is one of the punctuation, the special letters. It can be U and O, yes, or it's like this. U is like this. And when it is pronounced as a regular letter, it's pronounced as V, V. Letter Zain, Z, letter Chet, Che. We don't have the letter Chet in the English. We can have maybe this sound in other languages, but since we are using the English here, so we just designate it by H. Sometimes it designated by CH. It depends. And last letter here in this is letter Tet. So we continue. We continue. Yes. So here we have another next 10 letters from Yud to Tzadik. So Yud, Yod, it whether E or Ya or Ye, it depends on the punctuation. We will see this. Chaf, here is the ending Chaf. Okay, if Chaf, letter Cha, which is found in the end in the end of the Hebrew words, Chaf will be shown written like this. Letter Lamed, Le, L, this is the letter L, sound and the numerical value. So if we continue, Mem, Nun, in the parentheses, here we see the letter, the ending letter, which should be a square, Nun, which is very similar to the letter Nun, but it just goes a little bit below this line, the borderline of the letter goes below this line. Letter Samech, okay, S, letter Ain, a special letter, which is now is not so pronounced in Hebrew language, but it used to be pronounced Ain from the throat, but now it is pronounced like letter Aleph, A, and we cannot differentiate and A with Ain. Only usually it is found from people who came from Yemen. Still they pronounce Ain with a special pronunciation and sound. And letter Pei, which can be also Fe like F or Pe like P or PH. It depends whether it has Pei with a dot inside, it will be like P. Without a dot inside, it will be like F. When we'll be studying these letters, we will see that this is a symbol of a snake which hides his head, but don't be afraid, we will handle it. Okay, so we continue to our last group of letters, Kuf, Rei, Shin, Taf, the 4 letters of Malchut. If you remember, Kuf, Rei, Shin, Taf, and these are higher numerical values because they symbol more egoistic parts of this Malchut, and this is the way they are written. So this was a general description of the Hebrew letters, its basic Gematria values, what they mean in the spiritual world, and a general description. We will review every letter using the book of Zohar, the essay of Rav Imnona Saba. So, about the Gematria, here is again, you see the numerical value that we have already seen in our previous tables. Gematria is a very known phenomenon of the Hebrew language. But many people think that the Gematria is like a numerical or mathematical entertainment that people play with the Hebrew letters. They try to find taking words from the Bible and sentences and use computer software to find some secrets, or to, maybe I didn't find, but I'm sure that someone found, I don't know, the corona in the Bible and said, here we see the corona found in here and there. So there are a lot of, I would call it, games, though there are people who, are also using this as a research. Find these formulas in Hebrew and numerical values and try to understand what is happening, what it symbolizes. But from the Kabbalistic aspect, all these words and numerical values, as we said, are only gives us meaning and evaluation of forms of connection, forms of connection, correction between lights and desires. So, as we said, the bigger value means bigger correction, bigger connection, lighter value, less connection, less correction. And all the Gematria examples that we will be presenting in our course, in the lessons, are examples which are not just arbitrary examples or combination that we try to work it out, but they are all taken from the Kabbalistic sources that they apprehended what this combination of letters, these words, which has this numerical value, really mean in the spiritual world, and they really exist and work. Okay, so let's see what Dr. Marky Lightman said about the Gematria. So the Gematria is a specific inner state of a person or of his soul, comprised of desire, yes, a vessel or a kli, and light, fulfillment. So if we take the sum of all sensations, impressions, states, memories, and intention, the general state of the soul, expressed in the form of letters or a sequence of letters, which is called Gematria. It is a way of writing down a specific state of the soul. Soul or Partzuf, spiritual configuration, the same. So suppose I could play a melody. We have an example or an analogy, which Dr. Lightman wants to give us, or sing a song that expresses my state. This is Gematria. I can draw a letter or symbol. This will also be a Gematria. I can convey my sensation or my state by recording it. It is similar to Reshimo, a record of information about a state. In spirituality, there is nothing besides the state of delight and desire, kli. That state of equivalence between delight and desire with the help of a screen, masach, or intention. Everything else are means or ways to express this state. So, in the spiritual world, there are no lines or shapes or bodies. So there are only these two forces of receiving and bestowing. So it's impossible to talk about a place in which the spiritual world is located. It's a higher level than us, which manages us. So the power of receiving that we are using, we want to attract to ourselves the power of bestowal. So all these forces act on the material, which is the desire to enjoy the receiving, and all the forms that are created are called letters. So each letter symbolizes a certain combination of these two forces. So, and these two forces are connected by this screen. So, because the egoistic power, the bestowing power are isolated, they are in different form, they are separated because they have different form, but the screen connects them. So all what we need to acquire is a screen in order to connect between an egoistic power and a bestowing power. And then there will come a letter, a form that we can see. Okay, let's see one of the most famous, I would say, the most of the important gematria that the Kabbalists use. So, letter Aleph is 1, letter Lamed is 30, letter Hey is 5, letter Yud is 10, and the letter Mem is 40, and altogether, if we calculate it, we get to 86. If we pronounce it, this is called Elohim. Here is the pronunciation in English, Elohim. Okay? If I put here the punctuation in Hebrew, Elohim. Okay? Elohim. And another word, which is called Hateva. Hateva means nature, yes? And Elohim means God. Let's calculate the gematria of Hateva. Hateva, Hey is 5, Tet is 9, Bet is 2, Ein is 70. Of course, you can find all these values in the tables we saw in the previous slides. So if we calculate it, we also come to 86. Okay, so what the Kabbalists want to show here, that God means nature. Elohim, this special phenomenon, special force, Elohim means Hateva. So the Kabbalists use it a lot, that Hateva is actually the laws of nature, are the laws of God, are the same laws, the laws of correction, the laws of nature, the same laws. Of course, it has a specific meaning, but this, as I said, this is not found in a computer or a mathematical combination or revelation. It was apprehended by the Kabbalists, that they apprehended in their desire, in their corrected desire, in their corrected form, that they found that this combination of letters together form this word called Elohim and this word Hateva. I mean, the sounds of the letters together and these sounds of the letters together, which form the word Elohim and Hateva, was meaning for them the same. So the laws of Elohim, the laws of Hateva means the same. Of course, when we apprehend every letter and we apprehend also the sound of the word, we will feel very deep what these words really mean. But the Gematria is just the numerical value to show us the connection between God and nature, what the significance of this equivalence. Okay, so let's summarize this point with another quote by Dr. Lightman. So what's the connection between Kabbalah and Gematria? For instance, the creator and nature have the same numerical value in Gematria, as we saw in the previous slide. And what is Gematria and how does it prove anything? It's not a number, a game, as some people think. Kabbalists use Gematria to designate properties, forces, and degrees that the soul goes through. There's nothing hidden in it, and Kabbalists use it for no other purposes. Gematria is simply terms or designations indicating relationships between forces and phenomena in the upper world. And its writer is a person, this Kabbalist, who discovers and observes such relationships, as we said before. The creator, Elohim, yes, as we saw, Elohim, and nature, Hateva, are terms designating that the all-encompassing general force. So we have reached the end of the first part about the uniqueness of the Hebrew, about the Hebrew letters, about the Gematria, the source of the letters. And now we continue to our second part of our lesson today, the Hebrew practice. But today, as I said, is a special lesson. Here we take, because we are starting from the beginning, the first letter in the alphabet is the letter Aleph, as we saw in the previous tables of the Hebrew alphabet. Letter Aleph, here we see a drawing by Dr. Lightman. We took it from his handwriting, but this is a very common picture of the letter Aleph with its Kabbalistic meaning. So we can see this this line. Okay, you can see this line, the meaning, this line in the diagonal line, which is a separation between this form, and this form, and this form. Okay, this form and this form. These forms, we will see, it also reminds us a little bit the letter Daled, which means Malchut, the Sephirah of Malchut. And these letters symbolize us also the letter of Yud, which means Chokhmah. So in order to come from the letter, from the Sephirah of Malchut to Chokhmah, there is a separation, because Malchut should be corrected and reach the level of Chokhmah. And the separation here is what's called Parsa. Okay, so this is the Parsa, the separation between Malchut and Chokhmah. Okay, and what we see here is basically this also symbolizes also the structure of the world of Atzilut, which is here is Parsa. Atzilut here is the world of Atzilut, and below are the worlds with the egoistic desires of the worlds of Bia. So this is the letter Aleph. So letter Aleph has, with all its Kabbalistic forms, here we see the Daled, the Yud. There are more Kabbalistic forms, or the Torah form. If you take some Torah scrolls, you can see how the Aleph is written there. If you take a book, also you can see these forms. Of course, you know there are a lot of typefaces, fonts you can find as in any other languages. Okay, here also, but the basic form remains. this diagonal line and the two forms from left and right. This is a regular printed a book form of the letter Aleph. Okay, so and this is also a cursive of handwriting. So usually when I write text for myself, I write the letter Aleph like this. Yes, you see how it goes? One like this, and then a vertical line. This is a regular handwriting. And this is a simple print handwriting. Okay, the diagonal line, 1 and 2. This is 1, 2nd, and 3. You can do this in other different order, doesn't matter. But this is a simple print form. Yes, before we saw this more book form and the Torah forms of the same letter. And letter Bet, the second letter, also we see here like two lines. One is this, the top line is like let's call it like a roof. And this is the bottom line here is like a floor. And here we have a connection between them, is like a ladder. And for Malchut, so below, again, we see below is the Malchut, and the top is Bina. And what connects Malchut to Bina is their Ampin. So this is Malchut. This is Bina. And this is their Ampin. So the letter Bet includes all the three Sefirot, the connection of Malchut and Bina. And this we will see, this will be a very important letter, the letter which the Creator used to create the world, Bet. This is the letter Bet. Okay, here we see the Torah form, the Kabbalistic form. We see here Tagin also means, we will see what is Tagin, is like, means also lights above the letters. Here we see also more angles here. But the basic form of one roof, the floor, and what connects the two levels. And this is a simple book form of the letter Bet. Okay, this is print handwriting. Yes, you can write it. You start from above, goes down, and make a horizontal line. And this is a cursive handwriting. Usually when you write for yourself letters, or you write in a paper, so you write the letter Bet like this. Okay, so let's now summarize what we saw today and then continue to your questions. Our entire language consists of signs representing forces. We have a point, a line, a circle from which the letters are constructed. Why does each letter look as it does? Because each letter symbolizes the development of a special force from above that operates on our world. 22 letters plus 5 final letters forms 27 letters. Remember the letter Mansipach and the 22 letters Kafbet are the main letters, representing the 27 powers that manage our general force of nature. Nature in Gematria of God is 86. We saw this. That operates on the world, activating all reality. We exist under these forces, and according to their directions, we respond. You can imagine this like beacons of different colors, red, blue, and so on. The upper light passes through the beacon through its particular pattern and illuminates us. And what are we? We are only puppets that respond to activations coming from above. The wisdom of Kabbalah explains to man how to ascend to a place from which he can activate these beacons himself, direct them to himself, and change his fate.
Okay, we have many questions in the chat. You guys also can open the mic and ask, but I will read already what we have. First question from, wait a second, this is a long chat. We will start from the beginning. Okay, first of all, there was some tension in the beginning because there were full whole alphabet and you were just tense that you don't have enough time to write and listen and to understand, and you had many questions. So don't be stressful. We are going to make zoom in on each letter following our lessons and the future lessons. So it was just general review, very general, just a full screen on Hebrew alphabet. So we will be back to Aleph and Bet again in the next lesson and following lessons to all the letters. So you will get, of course, all the materials of this lesson, and I will explain later about all technical things. Okay, and then content questions. The first question from Magdalena. Only the letters of their unpin have their ending variants. Is there a reason behind it? Benzin, we don't hear you. You're muted.
Now you can hear me. Yeah. Thank you. So the ending letters of Manzipach, Mem, Nun. Yes. So I will. So these were the letters, Mem, Nun, Tzadik, Pei, and Chaf, and these were Nun, Tzadik, Pei, and Chaf. Yes, and all these letters means have a numerical value by 10. This is 20, this is 40, this is 50, this is 90, and this is 80. So only these letters. So about the origin of these letters, yes, there is really many questions about it. There are even one word which is found in the Bible where this letter mem even found in the middle of the word. Why all these letters have also an ending form? It is because it's of this special quality of these letters that we will be studying in the essays of the letters about Mem, Nun, Tzadik, Pei, and Chaf. And all of these letters are also have the quality of the screen. So these ending letters symbolizes the shape of the screens that Malchut, because this is the letters, those letters, as we say at the end, they are the ending letters that are added to Malchut, to the general desire to receive. And all of these are symbolize the quality of the screen. Why are all dozens here relates to Zerampin? I estimate that because Zerampin is the power that Malchut acquires, all the powers that Malchut acquires for its corrections come from Zerampin. So these are some forms of correction that Malchut acquires from Zerampin and makes a screen of them.
Okay, so if it was complete answer, then no. But if not, so ask again, please, Magdalena. You can open your mic. Meanwhile, we will read more questions from chat. Aline is asking, what about zero? Is there a letter for it? The zero.
No, we speak about what the Kabbalists tell us, what they apprehended. So, so about zero. So we see that there are no letter with the numerical zero, but zero has a lot of meanings also in mathematics, and it's a very complicated also value as a whole. But I didn't see any. Again, the wisdom of Kabbalah deals with letters, not with numbers. So the numbers are give us something to make us easy, maybe to analyze it and make some calculations. But the essence are letters, not numbers. So there is no special in the value of 86, but there is very special meaning to the word of Elohim and Hateva, but not in the number of 86 as a number, because the letters which stands behind it. So why there is no letter for numerical value, I didn't find any explanation. I mean, zero is meant that something like before, maybe before creation or something. I didn't find any source for it, so I don't know.
Okay. Another question from Rich. Why is Elohim sometimes translated as Elohim? Isn't that a mistake?
Okay, so so if we look about the word Elohim, okay, so this is the word Elohim, but when the reader or in the lesson, he will not pronounce Elohim, he will pronounce Elokim, like this. Why? Because this is common, and that because this is the word which is not pronounced when you're reading the Bible or a Kabbalistic text. We are not just pronouncing like, because pronouncing also like have also a spiritual meaning, but we are just reading as any other reading. So in order not to, I would say, to keep these words which designate the name of the creator, so in order not use them as a regular word, so this is a custom to differentiate it, and instead of saying Elohim, we say Elokim. This is also a custom, also religious custom, but regular people don't say Elokim. So if someone says Elohim, whether it will maybe in our society, which are reading these sources, and this is how the heritage. But regular people will always say, secular people will say Elohim without any problem. So, but this is a custom about it.
Okay, guys, unfortunately, the time is gone and we should finish. And there are many, many questions in chat. We will keep it for the next lesson and we will start from these questions because they are extremely interesting, but they are already connecting to our next lessons about the dots, about the sound O in the word Elohim, and many, many others. So we will of course be back to these questions. We will keep this chat. Just to say, for those who didn't register yet, I will put the link to this special course. Actually, wait a second. There is also the link for all of you who are registered to get the course materials. Okay, so this is the link for the course materials. Directly, you have already there the introductory lesson, and this lesson will be there immediately after we will finish. And the presentation are still not there, but just because of very big size of PDF we made last time and this time. So we will make it less heavy, and then it will be there. What else? Some of you already asked a lot of questions during this week about the content of the course and to have more related materials. So especially translators asked me from different languages, because you extremely need this information and to translate properly the Kabbalistic terms and definitions. So I'm putting you here the link to the Kabbalah bookstore, our Kabbalah bookstore, and there are two special books that we actually using for this course. I will share the screen. Okay, so you see these books. We will start to read the essay of Amnon Asaba that already Ben Sion mentioned during this lesson. It's from the book of Zohar, this black book you see here. Okay, and also a lot of basic things is written in the Guide to the Hidden Wisdom. Okay, so for those who are interested in very deep learning, not only during the lessons, but also a part of the lessons, so you can have these two books. We have a special deal from Kabbalah bookstores just for our course. You see Kabbalistic Hebrew, so you can get it from there. What else? The recording of this lesson is already on YouTube. Okay, there is a link. I saw somebody already put it here. I will repeat. Okay, so it's here again. So you can be back slowly and to write and to stop each time you need. But yeah, we will put it also on the website. And the last but not least, Kab Hebrew. It's a short link to our website if you lost from all these links. Okay, so Kab Hebrew will always lead you. It's just very easy to remember. Okay, kabhebrew.com will lead you to our page. Again, and a few more words because we are out of time regarding the framework of our work. We will learn also in between the lessons. There were many questions. If you can send the questions to email or in any other way. So you will get the survey. We will send the survey, the questionnaire, where we actually will ask you what is the preferable platform for you to have a support for the homeworks in between the lessons during the week. Okay, so if it's WhatsApp group or Facebook group or any other, okay, or website, our page group. Okay, so we will ask you, because we will then divide you by time zones groups, and then you will get an assistant. We have here Dorit. Dorit, say hi. I will spotlight you just for those who didn't know you. Okay, so Dorit, she is a professional Hebrew teacher from New York. Dorit, you may say some words.
Be a pleasure to work with you, answer all questions between lessons, and practice whatever we studied. And it's will help you a lot.
Okay, so Dorit will help you in between to pronounce it properly, to go go through the lesson materials again, and all the questions you didn't have probably during the lesson, but when you started you have many, so we will answer you in between the lessons, and we will support you. For European time zone, we will also have another assistant. I don't see Judith. She's here, but I don't see her. Okay, Judith Zor, she will assist you for European time zone. Okay, and probably we will have more assistance. It depends on your desire. Yeah, that's it. If you have any technical questions now, because content questions we will answer during the next lesson, or we will record a special session with Ben Sion. During the week we will record just questions answers. Okay, I see you're doing like this. Okay, good. So send us your questions and we will record additional extension to the lesson, okay, appendix, and then we will send you this recording. Okay, so live lessons on Sundays at the same time. I see the question from AD. Level B, second level, will start on upcoming Tuesday, 5th of May. So the letter will follow with a Zoom link. Some of you, some of the level B registrants already got it. Yeah, that's it. Thank you so much. Thank you to be with us, and we hope it was a pleasure.
See you next week.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Shalom, shalom.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Shalom.
Thank you.
Danke.